What does it mean to be a banker in the traditional venture capital space? This is an informal conversation, okay? Yeah.
All right. I'm a banker. Sometimes we joke about what we put on the immigration form when we clear immigration. I still put banker and nothing else, which has gone through ups and downs, but I persist because I think banks are relevant to society. Customers have expectations, be it to preserve value or grow, help them do things. And I think it's important to have banks that are relevant and serve customers the way they want to be served. So I'm a banker. Now, in order to change a bank, I have to apply a number of methods and a certain discipline, which has to do with the fact that it's not about sort of deciding top down what I think is a great idea for a new digital channel, for example, but rather let customers and ultimately the markets decide which ones of the ideas we have is going to be validated, and really let the market validate. So in that sense, I've turned into a free market advocate, the way I speak now, but also a capitalist and in fact an investor. So you could say a venture capitalist, although it's not a venture capital firm that we have set up, but rather using venture capital investment as a mean to an end in the context of rewiring the DNA in banking. Now, having said all this, if we don't achieve VC-like returns, given we take VC-like risks, then we don't have a right to exist. So we need the financial discipline of a venture capitalist, and we also need the method in the sense of I don't want to get adversely selected by because people think that we're slow and strategic and all this, and we think they're onto something, but 11th hour somebody said no. So I need to be able to operate within the cycle of the venture capital fundraise, and we set up to do exactly that with a venture capital mindset. So we are competitive and indeed get to be get to see the right opportunities, be exposed to the right flow, and do all the right things.
Now, so if I walked into your office today, I will get a sense or a feeling that this is a venture capital culture.
Well, first you're invited anytime, and so you can check for yourself.
Right.
Exactly. So we can have that conversation in the office. Every office has a different feel and a bit of a different culture, and the risk, if you ask me what the culture is that I'm going to be a little idealistic about it and tell you what I think it should be as opposed to what it really is. So again, on that note, the best thing to do is ask people around the office what they think the culture is. But I'll tell you what sort of neutrally is trying to be honest about. I think it's a mix. What characterizes the office is the diversity of it, and I obviously mean gender and racial and every kind of neurodiversity, if you will, every kind of diversity, but also the diversity of skills. In other words, we do have bankers for what it's worth. People like me. We have bankers because it takes bankers to understand what it takes to operate in a regulated financial institution. We also have technologists. We also have designers. We also have investors, in fact, professional investors. We also have community managers. We have venture incubation coaches. We have all these completely different people and different skills, which we try and assemble in what I call SC Venture, which is the combination of lab and a venture building practice and a venture investment practice.
Now, how intellectually honest are you as a banker taking a position in a venture, especially in the portfolio that you have? Knowing that some of your portfolio is meant to augment what the bank is doing, and some of your portfolio is a disruptor to what traditional banks are doing. How do you manage your intellectual honesty in that?
Yeah, I'm assuming that you don't want me to say that I'm fundamentally dishonest and intellectually all over the place. Hopefully
we've had that conversation, by the way. I was accused of this, but I asked that question for a purpose. Anyway, keep going.
Really, I think really what you mean is so sometimes you refer to it as a conflict, which is you must be conflicted because you work for this traditional organization which is established and entrenched, and then you invest in things that could disrupt it, and isn't that a problem for you? And I rationalize it. I don't just rationalize the problem. To me, this is a very, very rational position, which is I work in the interest of the industry and the organization that I work for at the highest level, meaning not in terms of hierarchy, but in terms of the transformation of this organization, and in terms of the purpose I'm trying to achieve with it. That is where we're positioned. And so, in the end of the day, everything we do is aligned to the interests of the group.
The banking group.
That
not
doesn't
just the
mean-
individual
that
bank or
doesn't mean-
the
that doesn't-
business.
Exactly, that doesn't mean it has to align to the interests of XYZ business units. Because if I were to align to XYZ business unit, then I would be doing exactly the same thing they're doing, which is obviously not the point. So there are times where we are, overlap or a little annoying perhaps to some of these business units because we don't align with the strategy. When we build ventures, however, the mission is to experiment with different business models, provide optionality to the banking group, come up with new revenue streams and or different ways of serving clients, perhaps existing clients, perhaps different clients. So in that sense, there's no way we can start with the connection to the existing group.
Okay.
That connection will materialize or not over time as a function of where these ventures go. Typically, these ventures will have an adjacency with the group. And that adjacency in itself, I think, is valuable. How big is that adjacency? How valuable is it? Depends. It depends on the ventures, and I expect that ventures will go different ways as a function of how they what they do and how the connectivity or the connection to the bank is evolving.
How many years has SC Ventures been? 5 years now. So some of your investments would have matured for you to decide.
Yes. So it's first. It's very early days. Everything takes longer than you think, and it's while I should have known better, it's taken it's taken some time. People think we've gone incredibly fast. I'm obviously relentless and impatient, meaning we want to achieve as much as possible. 5 years really means an average life of 2.5 years. Most of our ventures are 2 years old, around this, and so it's very early stage for the venture, which is going to pivot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before it knows that it's onto something, at which point it makes sense to scale. Having said this, some of our ventures are beginning to scale because we got to the point where we have the right product, we know we're serving certain customers in a way that is relevant to them, and so now we want to scale it in XYZ market and also replicate it across our footprint.
So you're more like an incubator than a venture capitalist.
A combination of the two. So we're building ecosystems of little ventures, technology partners, otherwise partners, the bank. That is an ecosystem of entities that can serve one theme and line around it and complement the capabilities of the other party, etc. And these ecosystems are very powerful because they're also very nimble, very dynamic, and that's what we like about it.
Oh, personally, what do you believe to be true about the future of finance? What are some of the opportunities, challenges that the industry must face? That shows up in
huge question.
That shows up in your investments. Actually, that's my.
Well, so if you start with specifically what are we doing, right? So I describe ecosystems around themes. The themes are actually on our website, scventures.io, and on our website we are saying explicitly that we think that integrating financial services into people's lifestyles is a relevant theme for society and financial services. So when we build a digital bank, when we serve the online economy, when we build banking as a service, when we have a goal setting or retirement planning app, lifestyle optimization apps, all these things are around theme of lifestyle and digital banking and financial services. Theme number 2 is corporate side SMEs, but also world trade, supply chains. The fact that globalization, whatever people say, is relevant and here to stay, and we need to serve SMEs better and supply chain specifically. And so we've built a number of ventures and also made investments in that space. Theme number 3, digital assets are here to stay. They're relevant to society going forward and accordingly financial services. And so, however, in order to obtain institutional type of adoption, we think that industry, that space is right now creating a robust and safe infrastructure, which we embarked on building. Theme number 4, which you could argue is overarching over everything else, is around sustainability, financial inclusion, which we think is very important. It's one thing to operate in a sustainable way, it's another thing to have sustainability at the core of a business model.
We have a rich and important conversation, and it's a continuing conversation. To be continued.